Hello everybody. Alright, I had to start another stream, so I'm going to link everybody over to me. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's having a great day. I know I am. So, like I said, just give me a second here, and let me get us into a new live stream here, or get you all the link to that. So just give me a second here. Okay. Here we go. Alright, it looks like we're up and running right here. So I'm going to link everybody over. Here we go. Okay. Alright everybody, head over to the new stream, and I'll meet you over there. So hopefully everybody makes it over okay. So it looks like we're doing all right now. So how's everybody doing? Okay, good. All right. Hey, Fuddy Duddy is here. Let's get the chat up here. Fuddy Duddy back from cold Bangor, Maine. Although probably hot and muggy Bangor, Maine for this time of year. All right. So hopefully everybody makes it over. You know, I know some people missed the update. Okay, here we go. So I don't know why YouTube did that again. I did do an update just now, so that could have messed it up in some fashion or another, but I'm not really sure. So hopefully everybody... Yeah, there we go. We got 12 people here. Okay, so hello everybody. We will be starting very, very shortly. I just wanted to get everybody in here. Feel free to say hello, whether you are a new or a returning student. Always love to hear, especially from new students, help grow our classroom to be even more powerful than ever. Username, can you see my message? Yes, I can, username. What says the Real Winslet fan, or Andy rather, made it? Okay, it looks like everybody is over here, or a lot of people are. So hopefully everybody else has figured it out. So sorry for the delay. I always kind of like to get right into the lesson here, but today, you know, we had a little bit of a mishap with YouTube, of course. Okay, let me get one thing up here, and then we'll probably get ready to be started. I'm going to attempt to do the Facebook live stream as well. That hasn't been working recently, but I think by doing the update, it should help. So just give me a chance here to get the my notes here up. Okay. And then just give me another couple seconds. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Okie doke. All right, everybody. So feel free to say hello. In the meantime, I'm going to start up the Facebook live stream. It should take less than a minute if it works out correctly, but I think it will. So just give me a second here. What? It's giving me the same problem again. I'll have to figure this out later, unfortunately. Okay, so we'll just do the YouTube live stream for now. I apologize, everybody on Facebook. I've been trying to get the stream back up and running for Facebook, but you know how these things work. Okay, so here we go here. All right, Laredo's back once again. Let me say hello to some people. Linda, welcome. Gary Cook's back once again. Fuddy Duddy, of course. Username, I believe your new username. So welcome out to our live stream. Happy that you could join us today. Adri, of course, is back here and ready. The county fair's going on. Not competing. Okay. But going there after the live stream. Okay, wonderful. Cheryl Faye is back once again. All right, welcome. It looks like we have a lot of older students who have come back in this live stream, or have been in and out, but it's great to see all of you again in one place. All right, enough dilly-dallying. I think it's time to get on with the lesson since we had kind of a delay. If I didn't get to anybody, I apologize, but I will get to you throughout the live stream, I am sure. Okay, let me get my headphones off real quick so I can do the intro, and we'll see where we go from there. Okay, let me remember what I was going to say, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay. One question I get from students a lot is, how do I find the right piano piece for my current playing level? Well, your teacher Tim is here, and I'm going to help you figure out just that by giving you some really important tips. Okay. Let me get like a couple of... Oh, they do this again. All right. Just give me a second. There we go. Let me get another few up here. I'm just getting a few piano pieces ready in case you're wondering, like, what is going on right now? Okay, so let's see. Like 2 more, I think, should do it. Because I always like to have real examples to show. And because we're had some technical difficulties, I didn't get it up in time. But 1 more, I think I'm almost there. And then we'll get started. Okay. Here we go. All right, now we're here. Okay. The first tip I have for you is to check to see if the piece is in a difficult time signature. So let's take a look at some examples so I can show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so taking a look at this piece right here, this is the Minuet and G. From the Notebook of Anna Magdalena Bach. Of course, it's by Petzold. And let's take a look at the time signature here. Well, the time signature is that number there right after the treble clef and the key signature. And that tells you, obviously, how many beats are in a measure. The lesson isn't about that. But 3/4 is a pretty simple time signature. Chances are, if you're learning to play piano in the first few weeks, first few months, you've definitely played something in 3/4, or at least you're familiar with it. So look to make sure that you are actually familiar with the time signature. You don't absolutely have to have played through it before, like in that time signature, but make sure that you understand what that time signature means. So 3/4 is pretty standard. You know, you go over to Moonlight Sonata, that's in cut time. You have to understand that cut time is 2/2, that there's really 2 beats in a measure, and then really you have these groups of triplets too, so you have to know how to play the actual rhythm. So the first obvious tip is look at the key signature, time signature rather, know what that means, know how to play in that time signature, and be familiar generally with the rhythms that are going on. Like I said, of course, the point of learning a new piece, I want to say this right now, is to go just past your comfort level and actually what you're able to currently do. And this will actually help you get better and better and better. You don't want to pick really easy pieces all the time. But on the other hand, which we'll get to in our further points, is you don't want to pick something so far out of your range that it's impossible, because that will frustrate you. So all these tips ahead are going to kind of circle around and revolve around this key aspect. Okay. Okay, the next key tip is look for difficult rhythms. I had mentioned this a little bit in the previous point, but let's take a look at some pieces so I can show you, exactly what I mean. Okay, taking a look at the Moonlight Sonata again, you can see right here that they have the triplets like I mentioned, so you should know how to do that. You know, you have dotted eighths, sixteenths. So really the point is that the question would be, should you learn this piece? And in what cases should you learn this piece? Well, if you're learning in the first few weeks, first few days especially, I would say no, do not tackle this piece. If the pieces you're learning look more like, I don't know, that, or possibly this, where you're just having straight eighth notes, you know, like the canon in D, maybe you shouldn't do something like the Moonlight Sonata quite yet. However, like I said, you don't have to know everything before you begin the piece, but you should look it up and should have like kind of an idea on how to tackle it. Obviously, listening to a recording would kind of help you get a feel for how it's supposed to sound. But looking through this, you can just tell visibly by looking at it that there's more going on rhythmically than the other pieces that I've listed earlier. So if you're used to playing, you know, Jingle Bells or something like that, you know, something really, really simple like this, where you just have chords in one hand, simple melody in the other, you might want to learn a few pieces before you get to this one. Okay, let's get on to the third tip. All right. Oops. How did I miss? Wait, hold on. Weird. Okay, you know what? Just give me a second, because I have made a miscalculation. I think well, I got it fixed already. So, we all good. We all good. Okay. And I wrote it again. Here we go. Okay, great. Check the key signature along, obviously, with the time signature. The key signature tells you what? Well, let's take a look. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so checking out this Minuet and G again, if you take a look right after the treble clef and the bass clef, you have your key signature. That just tells you what notes are sharp or flat throughout the piece. And the main point I want to make here is you don't want to be playing in a key that is too difficult for you at the current time of you know, where you are learning. So if you're only used to playing keys that only have one sharp, one flat, maybe two sharps, two flats, or even maybe you've never even played in a different key outside of the key of C at all. You know, you haven't really played with sharps or flats. You don't want to be playing a piece with 6 sharps or 6 flats, or I would say even over 3. I would actually, when you're learning pieces, I would start from the key signatures with 1 sharp or 1 flat, then work your way up. You know, maybe the next piece you'll learn has 2 sharps or 2 flats, and then 3 sharps, 3 flats. You don't want to go from 0 to 7 sharps right away. It will blow your mind, and you won't be able to play it, and you're going to get frustrated, which is what you don't want to do. That's really like what can go wrong if you don't know how to pick the correct piece, is that you're going to get really frustrated. You're going to feel like you're not getting anywhere with the piece, and that's a no-no. So you want to gradually work your way up. Again, you know, you can be looking at these pieces, sorry about that, be looking at these pieces from a physical point of view. You know, you can tell right away that, you know, there's quite a few notes on the page, but it's not insane, and there's not a whole lot of going on in the key signature. So that's what you want to shoot for in terms of your sharps or flats in the key signature you're playing in. Okay. A great follow-up to the key signatures is, does the piece have a lot of accidentals? Accidentals can make a piece a lot harder to play, even if it's in a simple key signature like C major, which has 0 sharps, 0 flats, or the key we just looked at, which happened to be G major with 1 sharp. What is an accidental? Well, let's take a look. Okay, I want to get the Pathetique Sonata up for this, because It's a good one. It's a good. There we go. This time we're looking at the Pathetique Sonata by Beethoven. And first of all, before we talk about the key signature, before we talk about accidentals or anything, just glance at the page. Is this piece harder or easier than Moonlight Sonata? Or maybe even compared to the Minuet and G, right? You can see visibly that there's less going on in the Minuet and G than there is in Moonlight Sonata, and then there's less in Moonlight Sonata compared to the Pathetique Sonata. So use your optics. Look at the page and ask yourself, does this look indeed harder? However, I want to tell you that you should still kind of give it a try. Maybe just practice through the first page or first few lines to see how it goes, because there have been a lot of pieces where I've looked at it and I'm like, there's no way I can learn that. And then I start looking at it and I'm actually able to do it, at least for the most part. But use that common sense knowledge to your advantage. Okay, accidentals. So an accidental is any note that is not in the key signature that is sharped or flat throughout the piece, or naturaled. For instance, right here in the first measure, there's quite a few, sorry, that should be a C minor chord, quite a few accidentals, like right here with this B here. I should actually be showing you, the keyword here. So normally there's 3 flats in this piece, B, E, and A. So right here, that B right there, which is our first accidental, is an accidental. And if you have a lot of those, it can make the piece harder to play, because when you really understand a key signature, you're really especially if you've been practicing your scales and everything, you have a pretty good layout in your mind of where the sharps or flats are going to be on the piano keyboard. However, if there's lots of accidentals, that kind of throws a wrench into it. It makes it a little bit less predictable as to know where they are. So for instance, if you had the key of G, which we had that minuet in, you're expecting an F sharp pretty much anywhere you go with the piece. However, if it has lots of accidentals, you're really going to have to be on the lookout for those. So be vigilant and looking out for that. Okay, another thing you want to ask yourself when looking for the right piece is, are there symbols that you don't know? It's not a problem if there are symbols that you don't know, but if there's a ton of them and it looks very complicated, then maybe you don't want to pick that piece. You want to work your way up to there. Well, let's take a look and take a look at some symbols you might come across. Okay, another example we have, I'm just going to use the same example again because there are a lot of symbols in here. So for instance, right away, the FP, you're going to have to figure out what that means, just looking through. Anything basically besides the notes. You have sforzandos, you're going to have to understand what those mean. You have a 9-tuplet. I'm trying to figure out what that would be called. You can let me know in the comments over here. You have to figure out what that means. Do you know what that means? You obviously have your fortes, pianos. Within the first few weeks, few months, you should really understand what those are about. You have cresh, C-R-E-S-H. Do you know what that means? Sforzando piano. Do you know how to do that? Staccatos. Obviously, you should probably know how to play staccatos. But honestly, if you're looking through this and you're like, I don't understand any of this, well, this piece isn't for you. You should pick another piece. If you're looking through and you're like, okay, I get the fortes, I know what crescendo means, I understand what sforzando means, but I don't really understand maybe like 1 or 2 of the things, that's fine. Actually, if you don't know a musical symbol, I want to give you a little tip. Okay, give me a second, everybody. So if you go into your web browser on Google and you type in the list of musical symbols, and it's actually a Wikipedia article. It's actually really good for Wikipedia. I've never found anything wrong with it so far. But anyway, you see something in your music you don't know. Now here's if you know the name of it, perfect. You can just click there and it'll show you. But if you don't and you just have the physical or the symbol itself, you got to scroll through here and check it out and figure out what it means. So obviously you can see that there's a lot of symbols here. You know, here's the rhythms and the note durations. You have breaks and things like this. So this is a really helpful thing. It's called the list of musical symbols, and you can find this over on Wikipedia, but you just type it in your web browser and it will take you right there. There's the forte piano we had in the beginning of this piece. So right here, a section of music in which the music should initially be played forte loudly, then immediately softly. Now that makes softly? Yeah, okay, softly. That's how it is written. I just thought it sounded weird. Anyway, let's take a look at our pieces and see if we can figure out this forte piano. It actually makes a lot of sense in context of the Pathetique Sonata because it has a lot of these chords you're going to really hit, and then right away you back off. And then each measure starts with one of those. You hit it loud and then soft. So as you can see right away, we were able to look up what one of these things meant and figure it out pretty easily. But like I said, if you don't know anything, then you want to pick a different piece. Okay, this one's a common sense one, and I've kind of put in some nuggets of this throughout the entire lesson, but it's you want to ask yourself, how much more difficult is this piece than the piece I'm currently working on? You know, print it out, that piece you're working on, print it out, take a look at it. A piece you're able to play, obviously, that you're able to play well. Well, you get it out, you look at it, you look at the new piece of sheet music, and you determine how much more difficult do you think this piece is than the one you're learning. If you're, like I said in the beginning, if you're learning Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water, you don't want to be learning, you know, a Chopin waltz or something like that. It's just going to be too much for you. Let's take a look at a few examples and just kind of hash out maybe how difficult they are compared to one another. Okay, everybody, give me a second here. And then I'll get to some questions and things like that here in a minute. So if you think I'm ignoring you, think again, because I always like to get through most of the lesson first. Okay. Okay, so here's Happy Birthday. Most of us have heard this piece before, I'm sure. And so forth. Well, just taking a look at this piece, you know, if you're in the first few weeks learning, this could be a difficult piece, no doubt. But, you know, just looking at it visually, is it harder than the Pathetique Sonata? No. Not even close. You can just see that this is way more difficult. So if you're currently learning, you know, Happy Birthday, jumping to the Pathetique Sonata is not a good idea. What about Happy Birthday compared to, say, the Canon in D? Well, they don't look too far off, right? I mean, this one, you know, has mostly quarter notes, very few eighth notes, but it does have some, especially with the dotted eighth sixteenths there, and this one just has straight eighth notes. So, you know, looking at these two, I can determine that if you're learning Happy Birthday, this version anyway, you can probably learn this version of Canon in D. They have a lot of the similar things going on. For instance, the key signature in Canon in D has 2 sharps, which isn't too many, and Happy Birthday has 2 sharps as well. So it's a great crossover piece. You know, at least you have the same sharps going on in your mind, because it is always a challenge to change key. Like, I always struggle, especially if I'm learning a piece with 1 sharp, and then I learn a piece right after that with 1 flat. That 1 sharp gets stuck in my mind, and you know I'm playing and I'm supposed to be hitting B flat, but I'm still hitting those F sharps. Doesn't happen as much anymore because I'm more aware of it, but it's very common. So if they share the same key signature, or maybe they're only one sharp away or something like that, it's probably a good fit. Let's keep looking and, you know, kind of pick apart this some more. So happy birthday. We got canon and D, not too much more difficult at all. Of course, you want to scroll through later in the piece because pieces can be deceptive sometimes. They can look really easy in the beginning, and then you'll hit a point in the middle here, like right here, where all of a sudden it gets quite a bit more difficult. Here we have runs of 16th notes and everything. But honestly, you really just only have that in the right hand. Left hand still just has half notes going on. So it doesn't mean that it's a deal breaker by any chance. It probably just means that you're going to have to spend more time on it. But if all of a sudden it start looking more like the you know, Moonlight or Pathetique Sonata, you might want to shy away from it. Or learn the beginning and see if you can work your way up to that middle section. Fur Elise is a perfect example. In fact, let me get it up for us. Hopefully I have it here. I thought I did. Yes. So Fur Elise is a perfect example because a lot of students, even if they're pretty young in my opinion, at least a lot of my young students, can play this opening part without too much trouble, or they can play a modified version of it to make it easier. So that part's not too hard. However, Fur Elise has this second section here where all of a sudden it gets quite a bit harder. So a lot of students I have that are 10 years old, they might be able to learn that first part okay, but they always struggle with this second part. And some of them I actually have to just we have to either just learn that first part or, you know, go through the second part very, very slowly. But that's something I consider when I give a student Fur Elise, is whether we're going to do that second part or not, you know, and so always be looking out for that when you're learning a piece. It also has this third section here, but that one's not too bad. Okay, I've already went over it. See, what happened is I think one of my slides got out of order, and then that messed me up. But I figured it out now. I think I know what's going on. Okay, so you can probably tell that a running theme today is honestly look at what you're like aspiring to learn. Look at what you're currently learning. Is there a lot of stuff in the new piece that you really want to learn? Is there a lot of stuff you don't know? It's okay if there are some things that you don't know, as long as it's not absolutely everything. Is the page just covered with tons of black dots, lots of notes everywhere, and symbols you don't know? Maybe you shouldn't learn that piece. Maybe you should learn a few other pieces working up to there. Look at the key signature. Is the key signature all of a sudden you've been playing in 1 sharp and now you're playing in 7 flats? Well, that's going to be a problem for you, I guarantee it. Does the piece have a lot of accidentals in the middle of the piece to make it more difficult? I would say actually in general, the more dense the black symbols and notes and things are on the page, the more you should probably you know, maybe shy away from it if you're a beginner. If you're an intermediate or advanced, I'd say go for it, but just make sure you're working your way up gradually to that, because like I said, one of the worst things that can happen to you when learning a new piece is that you pick one way too hard and you get frustrated. And what does that do? That brings your confidence level down. It probably brings your enthusiasm down, which could be a real problem in the long run. Excuse me. I haven't sneezed down here in a while. I'm surprised. Let me get my thoughts together now. But use common sense to see if there's too many things going on. Like I said, you want to challenge yourself, but you don't want to get discouraged. So please be on the lookout for that. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let me get to some questions, because I think now it's time. Okay, let's see. Sound breaking up a little bit. Uh-oh. A technician, eh? Let's see. Real One's a fan says you need a technician. Okay, Tim is the technician. That's true. I'm not making that much money yet. There's some crackly, choppy sound going on. Oh, crap. Great. Let me take a look. Okay, the codec's right. That should all be right. Maybe it's YouTube? I don't know. I hope it's not too bad, guys. Sound is fine, but not loud enough. It should be. It shouldn't be any different. Let me check one more thing. Yeah, let me know if it's still going on. It looks like everybody's kind of experiencing a different thing here with the audio. Bronze Knight, glad to see you back with us again. Cheryl says, how can I tell the difference between a slur and a tie? Very good question. Let me answer this really quick. Let me see if I can find something with a slur. These ones are tied, but no slurs. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so a tie and a slur look exactly the same, right? So a tie will tie together the same note. So see here, it's a little hard to see here. Let me find a better example. But see, actually no, see how all this chord here in the opening right here, the C minor chord, that all the notes are tied to the same note. Like the top note's tied, like it's C and it's tied to another C, G tied to another G, E flat tied to another E flat. Those are tied. That means you're going to be holding over the note value for both of those combined. So the quarter note plus the dotted 16th note. Here is a slur right after it. Oh, no. There we go. Here's a slur right after it. See how there's a chord here. You got an F sharp in the bass. This is where we're at. And see how you have those connected lines, the arcing lines. However, the notes are different after that. Well, that's a slur, meaning you're going to slur the notes together. You're going to kind of smoothly connect them. You will not be holding them over. However, if you go just one measure over, in the beginning of this measure, you have the arcing lines again. However, this one is a slur or a tie? Well, it is a tie because these notes here are connected to all the same notes right adjacent across from each other. However, right over here, these ones later in the measure, they're slurred. Well, the top ones are slurred. See how the notes are different? You have this group of notes, this group of notes here, and then that one. However, the bottom, that's tied because there's an E flat and then there's an E flat 8th note. Wait, let me show you there. You can see it better now. E flat 8th note right there. So those are the bottom's tied, the top is slurred. So remember, ties connect the same exact note, same pitch rather, and then slurs connect different notes. So that's how that works. Laredo says, I'm so enjoying this lesson. Glad to hear it, Laredo. Let's see. First of all, I want to thank both Gary Cook for the $10 super chat and Carol Christensen for the $10 super chat. I want to thank you guys so much for that. Thank you so much for the support. It makes it all worth doing. And of course, it helps me make lessons even better than ever. And it helps me pay my new mortgage. So I'm very thankful for that. Okay, just making sure I didn't miss anybody here. Okay. Back here again. Okay, sound just got a little louder, but then got a slight echo. So I don't know, guys. I don't know whether it's YouTube or what's going on. I hope when the recording's all done and finished that it sounds okay. Otherwise, I'll have to figure out what in the world exactly happened. I knew I shouldn't have updated. I knew it. Okay, on your Google account. Okay, Carol's asking how to change the icon. I don't quite remember. It's been a while since I changed mine. I know it's like kind of hidden. Because I know that it's not really in your YouTube account. I think it's in your Google Plus account, which they don't really have, but they still kind of do. I don't know, guys. Julio says, hopefully my explanation helps. Let me scroll up. So, a tie is connected to the same note. Okay, so Julio got it right. And you hold the note longer. Okay. Edit your profile. Dwight Henry says, other than the whole half formula, is there a way to learn the scale? Yeah, look up the circle of fifths. Dwight, let me get you a link to a lesson here. So everybody just give me a second. And I'll get everybody a link to my circle of fifths lesson, which is actually one of my favorite lessons and a lot of other people's favorite lesson on the whole entire channel. So let's get it for you. Okay. All right, here you go. Lesson on circle of fifths, and this should help clear it up a little bit for you. Sounds good now, says Barbara. All right. I plan to listening more often to the recording of songs I'm working in order to internalize them. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Good idea, Barbara. Okay, saw it once for a song. I was practicing for a piano lesson, got the song right, but count was off. Really does make a difference. Yeah, that is true. That can help you pick out mistakes or give you an idea on how it's supposed to sound. Sound in lesson is good here. Okay, so everybody, I think it's a YouTube thing. I hope. It doesn't, on my end, it looks like everything's good. Yeah, 0 drop frame, so I think we're in good shape. Carol says, I'm good at a lot of things, but fall short on computer things. I'm good at computer things, but fall short on a lot of things. All right, any questions, especially if I missed your question up here. I scrolled through and I didn't see any that I missed. But I do tend to miss a couple, especially as I am, scrolling through. All right, any questions on anything we talked about tonight? If not, we'll end it in a little bit. Let me give you an update on what's happening with the channel and everything, because I'm still kind of sort of in limbo. I mean, we've still been able to have the live streams almost every week, which is great. But let me give you guys an update on to what's happening. So if you go to my website, first of all, over on my website, I have courses that can help you learn a lot more about piano music. So if you like what you see over here on the channel, I highly recommend you go over there and take a look at what my courses can offer you. It's just like the YouTube channel where it's no gimmicks. This is real piano instruction. You're going to learn about piano, music theory, improvisation, and anything else I felt you would need to become a well-rounded musician. So whether you're a beginner looking to get the fundamentals or you're looking to build the skills to learn the songs you have always wanted to play, take things to that next level, then you definitely want to check out my courses. But the reason we're here right now is if you go to the community page and scroll down. Normally there's a calendar of when we're meeting, what we're talking about and when. However, I haven't updated it this week, mainly because I've been busy, painting my house, getting everything ready. Things are pretty much on schedule to where I thought they would be. So I'm thinking that I should be all moved in, ready to go for live streaming somewhere in the beginning of September. Yeah, that's the next month coming up. Yeah, the beginning of September, maybe like the first or second week in September, we'll all be ready to go. In the meantime, I'll be working hard on doing that. So it kind of ties my hands a little bit in terms of the live streaming a little bit. Like I said, we've still been able to keep consistent, but I haven't been able to work like real ahead on, exactly the topics coming up over the next few weeks. I am working, however, on the future topics. I just don't know right now when they're coming out. Some of them are going to be really, really good, but I want to wait until I'm pretty much moved into my new house so I can give them the attention that they deserve, because I really hate putting out a lesson that I know has potential and it just sucks. So I don't want to do that to you. I don't want to do that to you. I don't want to do that to me. So just giving you an update on, what's going on with the channel right now. And in the fall, if you haven't been following me, there will be more new and more content coming out throughout the week. So look forward to that. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, right now I have to be exercising my patience because there's just still work to do before it's ready to move in, and I don't want to, rush anything and make it real crappy or anything. Okay, Carol says, thank goodness for all of our strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes it keeps us employed. I agree. Hey, Grace is here. Mary Grace. Bad. Yeah, welcome out, Mary Grace. So happy you could join us here. Everybody give me a second. I need to blow my nose. Okay, Adria says she reopened YouTube and it's better, which makes me feel happy. But hopefully, like I said, the recording is turning out well. I don't know what happened today. Okay, thank goodness. This lesson was very helpful. How is your new home purchase coming? Oh, yeah, Carol, you haven't been around for a while. So as you probably heard from the announcement I gave just a minute ago, that the house is bought. I made the offer, settlement went through. We came into a deal on the repairs that needed to be made. That went pretty smoothly. And we got the settlement, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago or so. And yeah, so I have the house now. What's going on right now, like I said, I'm getting it ready to move in. So the thing is that I painted the ceiling. Me and my dad have been working on it. And the ceiling's pretty much all done because it kind of was yellow, because they had a stove. And, it had been many years before I don't think it had ever been painted, actually. So anyway, we did that. It's looking much better. And I'm gonna paint the studio and my bedroom. I decided not to paint everything else right now because what's going on is there's actually like paneling everywhere in the house, and there is drywall behind it. Eventually, I want to peel the paneling off. It doesn't look like it's gonna be too hard. It looks like it's like nailed in. It's not glued, thank goodness. But it's gonna take a very, very long time to do that throughout the whole house. So what I decided to do was paint the ceilings, paint 2 of the rooms, and then as I live there, I'm going to take down the paneling 1 room at a time and then paint the drywall underneath it, and that should help not only make the house look better, but increase its value as well. 'Cause I got a good deal on the house. I like the house. It's definitely big enough for everything I need and has everything I need. However, it's a bit outdated, but that's kind of a good thing because I can increase the value over the long run, as you know, way better than I do. Let's see. Julio says, I'm thinking of getting an acoustic piano in the future, but one thing I'm concerned with is that if you play regularly, the keys will wear out and will need tuning. Are piano tuners expensive? Piano tuners can be expensive depending on where you live. However, if you do not move your piano from room to room in your house, you won't have to get it tuned as often. I've had students where they tune their piano maybe every 2 years, and it actually works out fine because they don't have big fluctuations in humidity in their house, or they don't move their piano into different rooms. You also have your piano in a room where the temperature and humidity are all over the place, that can make your piano go out of tune within a couple of days, maybe even a day. So that's something to consider. In terms of the keys wearing out, I don't find that to be a problem unless you have the piano for years and years. That's not something a piano tuner is going to have to fix every single time. At least I don't think so. I'm not a piano tuner, though. Piano tuners can run you anywhere, at least in the U.S. here, anywhere I would say between $100 and $200 for them to come by for, an hour or more, maybe a couple of hours, to come and tune your piano. If your piano is really out of shape, it can cost quite a bit to get it back, but it's not insane of a cost. But if you think about it, like $200 is a good chunk of change for most people. But you only have to get it done maybe once a year, maybe even once every other year. If you take good care of your piano, like I said, keep it in a room where the temperatures do not fluctuate. And then, yeah, every few years you're probably going to have to get pads replaced, have them work on the action of the keys and everything like that. Carol says, so happy for you, Tim. Thank you. I bet your father is enjoying helping you too. Yeah, he is. He told me the other day that it makes him glad that somebody needs him because, as you know, my mom passed away, I guess we're like at least a year and a half in. We're almost like 2 years in. It'll be 2 years in December, which is crazy to think about. But no, it makes him feel like, he's got somebody to help, something to do. And I like having him there. I enjoy my personal space, but, having him there helping me is cool. I do love my dad. So it works out pretty good. Okay, Julio, it depends on the place where you live. Prices vary. That's very true, Mary Grace. Let's see. David Mastrud says, any opinion on melodicas? Not really, unfortunately. That's a type of harmonica, right? Let me look. No, melodica is you blow into it and you play. Is that right? Let me look this up. Let me see. Melodicas. Okay, yeah. That's the thing where you blow into it, and then yeah, I don't really have an opinion on those. They're kind of neat, but I can't tell you like what a good melodica is or not. Kind of a neat idea, though. I would also run out of breath pretty quickly playing one of those. Username said, put a bunch of piano emojis. Thanks, I appreciate that. Roland's a fan says, one of my friends has a 100-year-old piano. Wow. Though it does actually need a couple of tunings a year. Okay. I actually do recommend a stage piano, which is like an electronic keyboard, but more upscale. You can get them from Roland or Yamaha. And don't get me wrong, like if you get an opportunity to get a good acoustic piano, I would say go for it. They have a really awesome sound, a very rich sound that is, even though like keyboards have come a long, long way in the last 10 years or so, even like the last 15 years, they've come along. Because my keyboard's 12 years old already, and it still sounds pretty good. But they still have a while to go before it sounds exactly like a real piano. Because with a real piano, you have a real soundboard. You have the acoustics of the actual shell, the wooden, case that it's in. And you just can't really fully replicate that with digital sound. However, the benefits of digital sound is, one, the piano is actually a lot easier to move. Like if you need to move it to another room, move it across the room, change its orientation, to point it a different way. Sorry, my allergies are giving me a little trouble, but it's much easier to do. Take it on a trip with you, move to a different house. Way, way, way easier. You could even do it probably with one person. I mean, mine's kind of heavy, but I think by myself I could probably move it with a little bit of struggle. But those are the benefits. The other benefit is that they never ever need to be retuned, which is fantastic. So you don't have that problem where if the humidity is all over the place, it gets out of whack. It's just always pretty good. Island has to go. Sorry to hear that. Sorry, Tim, I have to go. Thanks a lot for today's lesson. I love it. You're very welcome. And take care and God bless. God bless you as well. Thanks for coming by, Island. Always enjoy talking with you and having you a part of our great community. Okay, Barbara says, as a kid in the 60s, I played an old upright that was never tuned. My mother considered it, but decided it was too expensive. Okay. Rowan's a fan says, Tim, you should have a listen to the FP90. The sound is fully modeled, and the key action is very authentic. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that one. Or hopefully I'll get to play on one. Adria says, I have a Kurzweil that has sat somewhere for a long period of time before me and was never played. I want to get it checked out to make sure there's nothing wrong with it, to make sure it works like it should. That's a good idea. Like if it's something that has, especially if it's had a previous owner and you don't know what it was like when it was brand new. Yeah, it can't hurt to get a technician to make sure everything's good. And at the very least, if everything is good, maybe they can clean it for you, get it, in between the keys nice. Any other problems, little problems it might have. But if it's making sound and it's not cracking or buzzing or anything, it's probably okay, but it doesn't hurt to have a technician look at it. Barbara says, I found two old uprights in the basement of an old former church. Yeah, that's always a good place to find pianos for sure. They sounded horrible. Oh, no. It's probably because they were in a basement. Basements are very damp, as I am sitting in one right now. All right, everybody. I think that does it for today. We had a great lesson today. I enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself learning. Look forward to what we have coming out in the fall. I am really excited to get this new content strategy going. It's going to be lessons that, I really spent a long time thinking about the lessons that you guys have liked that I've put out and the lessons that you will like. I've put out a few polls over the last few months on the channel and social media to really get some more information on the lessons that you have, the things you're interested in and the lessons you want. And the strategy is really built around that. Plus a few things that I think will be a surprise, but I know that you're going to find valuable in different ways. So look forward to that. I really am. I really can't wait to move into this house. One of the big reasons for that is that the other one is it's going to be nice to have my own place where I'm going to be able to, not work out of a basement would be really nice. All right, Randy says, sorry I'm late. Yeah, sorry, Randy. We're just finishing up here. Just finished the dishes after dinner. Oh, man, they had you working on dishes, huh, Randy? But glad to have you back with us. Sorry you caught us at the tail end. Are we meeting on Sunday is the question. The answer is maybe. I haven't determined the topic for Sunday because I've been so busy. However, tomorrow I think I'll have a little time. So the answer as to whether we're having a live stream on Sunday is 50-50, maybe. How about this? If you're thinking about making plans, doing something else, do that. That's fine. If you're going to be around anyway on YouTube and on your computer, then yeah, keep your eyes open to see if you get the alert for the live stream. I'll try to let you guys know as soon as I can, which will probably be tomorrow sometime over social media, as to what, when, if we're having it or not. I say yes, but like I said, I didn't have enough time to put together another lesson for the week. So maybe I will tomorrow, maybe not. So I'll keep you guys tuned to that. Let's take a look here. Thanks, Tim. Great lesson. You're very welcome, Cheryl. Thank you, and for another great lesson. Keep well, everybody. Okay. There's an odds. Thank you, Laredo, by the way, and you keep well as well. Adria says, there is odd smell when I open up the fault board of the keys. My car payments are up in 2 years. Okay. There you go. Then you have a technician there then. look at it. Mal74 says, not hard to find an old free on Craigslist. Very true. But they likely need a lot of work. I agree with that. Gary Cook says $100 to $200 is the same as it costs in Australia. Australia. I like that. I have an expensive piano with a lifetime warranty. Great. The middle key went mute. Oh no. Middle C key went mute and the piano tuner fixed it and billed the store I bought it from. Okay. Good. Well, if you have that warranty, that's perfect. Piano tuning, I mean. Basements are not nearly as damp as your basements. Okay. I know the church sold their best piano and they shut down, so the ones were retired. Okay. So they were like the old pianos, I see. Gary Cook says, O-Z, Oz. Oz back at you, buddy. All right. Okay, everybody. I think, oh yeah, let me do a formal outro before we go. Unless Oz is some kind of slur or something, but I don't think it is. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, let me think on this for a second. So choosing the right piano piece. Oh, Australia, I see. Okay, I'm just trying to think about where I should direct people after this lesson. If you enjoy this lesson and you're looking for more ideas on what piano pieces you should be learning, check out this playlist in this lesson I have on choosing your first classical piano piece, whether it's Beethoven, Bach. I'll kind of break down some of those simpler ones for you and tell you which ones are good ones to start with. So subscribe because we got more things coming out all the time and you don't want to miss a beat. This has been your teacher, Tim, from Piano Lessons on the Web. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll teach you in the next lesson. Oh, the allergies got me, guys. All right. Carol says, thanks, Tim. Glad to be back. I appreciate your time. Have a good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Carol. Glad to have you back. Same thing with everybody. If you're a returning student, so happy to see you again. And if you're new as well, feel free to come back. All right, everybody. Have a great evening.